The vast, unyielding plains of Kansas in 1887 stretched endlessly under a sky that seemed to whisper secrets known only to the wind. In the heart of this sprawling expanse, amidst fields that promised a fleeting bounty, stood a rustic barn, weathered by countless seasons. For most, a barn was a place of labor, a sanctuary for livestock, or a storage for the harvest. But for two young sisters, its rough-hewn walls and dim interior were the entirety of their known universe. A world both confining and, in its strange way, absolute. Outside, life unfolded with vibrant colors and bustling sounds, but inside, reality was a hushed, muted affair, a solitary existence carefully guarded from prying eyes. This was not a childhood dream, nor a flight of fancy. It was the stark, undeniable truth for these girls, a secret as old and deeply rooted as the very foundations of their unusual home. The world beyond their wooden confines was a distant hum, a mere rumor carried on the infrequent gusts that rattled the barn doors. Imagine, if you will, a life where every sunrise and sunset painted itself upon the same familiar planks, where the scent of hay and old wood was the only perfume, and the rhythmic creak of the structure was the constant soundtrack to their unfolding days. There was no bustling town square, no schoolhouse bell, no neighbors visiting with news from afar. Their education was self-taught, their companionship solely each other's, and their future seemed as bound as their present. This extraordinary situation, born of circumstances yet unknown, set the stage for a story not just of survival, but of the relentless human spirit yearning for connection and understanding. If your heart is stirred by narratives of resilience, of the quiet strength found in the face of immense adversity, and of the profound journey towards discovering the inherent joy and potential wealth of a life beyond perceived limitations, then know that you are in good company. Join us as we uncover the layers of this forgotten tale, a testament to the enduring quest for wisdom and genuine happiness against all odds. Let this narrative ignite a spark of curiosity within you, as it unveils how even in the most restricted of lives, the profound desire for a richer, more expansive existence can eventually bloom, bringing an unexpected surge of joy inside the weathered wooden shell of a Kansas barn. A world unknown to most thrived in quiet isolation for Elara and Lena. From their earliest memories, the colossal beams and sturdy planks had been the only boundaries of their developing lives. Their days unfolded with a predictable rhythm, a tapestry woven from the patterns set by their reclusive father. He was a silent sentinel, his presence constant, his interactions often fleeting, his voice a low hum against the backdrop of rustling hay and distant prairie calls. This enclosed universe, though seemingly limited, possessed its own peculiar richness. The girls found unique happiness in the simplest things: dust motes in sunlight, intricate straw patterns, the comforting scent of wood and dried grass. Their formal education was sparse, confined to the few, well-worn books their father possessed, a collection of forgotten tales, tattered almanacs, and faded maps, offering tantalizing glimpses of a world they could only imagine. Their minds, however, were boundless territories, unrestricted by physical confines. Through these meager literary treasures and the whispered stories from their father, Elara and Lena's imaginations took flight, painting vivid landscapes and populating them with characters born of curiosity and longing. These internal journeys were a source of profound joy, a testament to the human spirit's capacity to create and explore, even when physically restrained. The barn was more than a shelter. It was a character in their lives, a silent guardian offering protection from an unknown exterior, yet also a stern warden preventing true connection. It was their refuge, a place where they felt safe from the world their father spoke of with hushed trepidation. Within its sturdy frame, they knew every creak, shadow, and echo. Simultaneously, it was their silent prison, a fortress built not of stone, but of fear and an unwavering desire for seclusion. This duality shaped their understanding of life, fostering an unusual wisdom from deep introspection and a forced reliance on their inner worlds. They understood silence, the nuances of quiet observation, and the strength in resilience. Their limited interactions meant any rare glimpse, a distant rider, a passing wagon, or changing seasons through a high vent became a treasure, a fragment of truth fueling their insatiable, unspoken yearning for more. They found joy in discovering new things about each other, about themselves, and about the vast, mysterious universe beyond their wooden walls. Waiting to be truly discovered, life within the rustic confines of the Kansas barn was a predictable rhythm of chores and quiet moments, days blurring into one. Elara and Lena had known no other existence, their world circumscribed by weathered wood and the distant whisper of the prairie wind. Their father, a silent guardian of their peculiar sanctuary, maintained a strict vigilance, ensuring their small universe remained unbroken. Yet, even the most carefully constructed walls can find their cracks, and a tiny fissure in their isolated reality was about to appear, not with a tremor, but with the gentle touch of an unexpected discovery. If you find yourself captivated by the quiet unfolding of human stories, remember to subscribe and like to support our community. One blustery afternoon, as the wind rattled the old barn doors, Elara was collecting stray hay, her eyes accustomed to the dimness. Near the usually undisturbed rear wall, tucked beneath a forgotten wagon wheel, something glinted, small, unassuming, entirely foreign. With a cautious, almost reverent touch, she unearthed a small, intricately carved wooden bird. Its wings were slightly chipped, its painted eye faded, but to Elara it was a marvel. It was not a tool, nor part of their simple farm life, but an object of beauty, crafted with care from a world she could only imagine. The wooden bird became a tangible link to the unknown. Who had carved it? Who had lost it? These questions, once dormant, bubbled to the surface with intensity. She turned the little bird over and over, its smooth surface whispering tales of beyond their enclosed world. For the first time, the true weight of their isolation settled upon her. Was there a different life out there, filled with such beautiful creations, a world rich in unseen wonders? A profound curiosity began to unfurl within her, like a seed reaching for the sun. The isolation, once accepted, now felt like a heavy cloak, stifling a desire for exploration. She imagined people outside, living lives of everyday happiness, perhaps even finding true wealth in interactions, a wealth beyond the material. The mere thought of a broader world sparked a nascent sense of joy within her, a new, exhilarating feeling. Was it possible that wisdom, too, lay waiting beyond their barn doors, not just in their few books, but in the vibrant tapestry of human existence? This small toy was more than wood and paint. It was a distant call, an undeniable invitation from a world she barely knew but yearned to understand. Her placid acceptance of their life was irrevocably shattered, replaced by an insatiable longing for the unknown. Elara's mind, once a tranquil pool reflecting only the familiar shadows of the barn, now swirled with an unsettling current. The brief, unexpected glimpse of the outside world, however fleeting, had fractured her perception of reality. She began to measure her days not just by the rise and fall of the sun through the dusty windows, but by an internal clock that ticked with mounting questions. Was there truly a life beyond these wooden walls, one teeming with the richness of bustling towns and open spaces? She found herself picturing children laughing in schoolyards, farmers tending vast fields under an endless sky, and women chatting as they walked down paved streets. The sheer scale of what she imagined was both exhilarating and terrifying. This growing curiosity gnawed at her, creating an unyielding tension between the life she knew and the life she craved. Her heart was tethered to the quiet routine of the barn, to the familiar presence of her father and the comforting companionship of Lena. Loyalty pulsed within her, a strong and undeniable bond forged by years of shared solitude. Yet another force was awakening, a powerful yearning for discovery, a quiet rebellion against her confined existence. She yearned for the joy of new experiences, for the simple happiness of choice and movement. Each passing moment seemed to deepen her dilemma. How could she reconcile her love for her family with this insistent whisper of a world she had only just begun to conceive? The desire to unravel its mysteries, to gain a kind of wisdom that only the outside could offer, grew stronger with every silent breath she took. She pondered the countless stories and people waiting to be known, a universe of possibility just beyond her reach, challenging everything she had ever accepted as her truth. The quiet hum of the Kansas prairie was a constant companion, Yet for Elara, an insistent new rhythm had begun to beat within her chest. Her growing curiosity, once a gentle whisper, had swelled into a powerful tide, now demanding an audacious step, a leap of faith into the unknown. The idea of the world beyond the barn walls, once a fleeting fancy, had solidified into a compelling need, a thirst that only direct experience could quench. She found herself spending hours lost in thought, meticulously mapping out her clandestine venture. It wasn't about defiance. It was about enlightenment, about understanding the vastness she had only imagined. She craved the unique wisdom that came from first-hand encounters, the kind of knowledge that books could only hint at. Her plan began to take shape during the long, shadowed hours when the rest of the farm was quiet. She studied the faint tracks leading away from their property, noting the subtle undulations of the land, the direction of the distant dust clouds that hinted at roads and passing wagons. Her objective was simple, yet momentous. A brief, almost instantaneous glimpse of the nearest town, a place whispered about but never seen. She envisioned the bustle of human activity, the varied faces, the tangible evidence of a life so different from her own. It was a calculated risk, born not of recklessness, but of a deep, burgeoning desire for something more, a hunger for the richness of experience. This small, bold act, she hoped, would bring a measure of internal joy, a sense of accomplishment that transcended her confined reality. She carefully considered the time of day least likely to attract notice, the path that would offer the most concealment, the quickness required for her departure and return. This tiny sliver of freedom, she knew, held the potential for profound personal growth, a step towards unlocking an unknown world of happiness. The anticipation, though tinged with apprehension, also carried an exhilarating spark of future possibility. She was preparing not just for a journey, but for an awakening. Imagine stepping out of a quiet, hushed existence into a world that suddenly bursts with life and sound. That's exactly what happened to Elara on her first brave venture beyond the familiar walls of her family's barn. The dusty road, usually leading only to fields, now stretched towards an entirely new dimension, one filled with the promise of the unknown. The air, previously smelling only of hay and aged wood, now carried a tapestry of unfamiliar aromas, the enticing scent of freshly baked bread mingling with the distant, earthy smell of damp soil and the subtle metallic tang of horse-drawn carriages. Her heart, a small bird trapped for so long, fluttered wildly against her ribs, a drumbeat of apprehension mixed with an overwhelming, almost joyous anticipation. As she neared the outskirts of the nearest town, the world truly exploded into a vibrant, exhilarating cacophony. Colorful wooden storefronts, painted in hues far brighter and more varied than anything she had ever imagined, lined a bustling main street. Wagons, their wooden wheels groaning and clattering, rumbled past, kicking up plumes of fine dust. They were filled with people laughing, bartering, conversing freely, simply existing in a communal hum that felt both foreign and utterly captivating. For so long, Elara's world had been defined by a profound silence, broken only by the gentle chirping of crickets or the familiar lowing of their few cattle. Now a grand symphony of human activity washed over her, a rich tapestry of sounds, sights, and movements that momentarily stole her breath away, leaving her both awestruck and a little overwhelmed. She paused, observing the scene unfold before her, a silent witness to lives she had only dreamed of. A young boy, no older than she imagined herself to be, chased a scruffy dog down a narrow alley, his unrestrained peals of laughter echoing with a simple, unadulterated joy that resonated deeply within Elara's soul. The sheer scale of it all was dizzying. People moved with an easy confidence, their conversations flowing like a river, their lives seemingly intertwined in complex ways Elara could barely begin to fathom. This was a world undeniably brimming with an unknown potential for happiness, a concept she had only vaguely grasped during her confined existence. Every face that passed by seemed to hold a story, every interaction a delicate thread in the vast social fabric she was only just beginning to perceive. This initial immersion was both breathtakingly beautiful and profoundly intimidating. The wisdom she was gaining, not from the few worn books in the barn, but from pure, unfiltered observation of life itself, felt immeasurable. She felt a profound and nascent connection to this bustling life, a sense of belonging to something much larger than herself, even as she remained an unseen, solitary observer. The world's richness, she realized, wasn't just in its visible possessions, but in the vibrant, undeniable spirit of its inhabitants, a spirit that now beckoned her to explore further. Promising a future filled with true joy and profound understanding, Elara slipped back into the quiet familiarity of the barn, her heart still echoing with the vibrant life she had briefly encountered. The air inside, once simply home, now felt confining, a stark contrast to the vast openness she had witnessed. Her eyes, having seen the brilliant sunshine and myriad colors, now perceived the dim interior with new clarity. A profound weight settled upon her, born from discovery's exhilaration and knowledge's daunting responsibility. The barn felt smaller, quieter, more restrictive. Her mind raced with images from her escape. She had glimpsed people living freely, their faces reflecting simple happiness and unburdened contentment. The sheer richness of life, the endless possibilities beyond their isolation, was overwhelming. How could she articulate this vastness to Lena, who knew nothing but these walls? The thought gnawed, a knot of excitement and apprehension. Sharing might spark hope and a desire for the same freedom and joy Elara now craved. Yet it might shatter Lena's security. This agonizing dilemma weighed heavily on her spirit. As she resumed chores, a new kind of wisdom began to dawn. Elara observed her father with a deeper gaze, considering his rigid isolation might stem from misguided fear, an attempt to protect them. This nascent understanding, though not excusing it, introduced empathy. She sensed their family's narrative was far more intricate. The vivid world she had seen underscored their limited existence. She knew she could not keep this to herself. The challenge was how to share it, to open Lena's eyes without shattering her spirit, eventually guiding them to genuine happiness, unraveling decades of solitude with a newfound resolve blooming in her heart. Elara knew the time had come for the most daunting conversation of her life. She approached her father, the man who had always been her protector and her captor, the lines between those roles blurring with each passing day. The air in the barn, usually thick with the scent of hay and quiet contemplation, now thrummed with unspoken tension. Elara gathered her courage, her voice steady as she expressed her deepest longings, the burning desire to understand the vast, unknown world beyond their confined existence. She spoke not of defiance, but of yearning, of the simple human need to explore, to learn, and to grow beyond the familiar. Her words, though gentle, carried the weight of years of unspoken questions, of dreams secretly nurtured beneath the rustic beams of their home. Her father, initially taken aback by her directness, listened with a somber expression. The silence that followed her plea was profound, heavier than any Elara had ever experienced. Then, slowly, painfully, he began to speak. He recounted a past filled with sorrow and betrayal, a world that had, in his youth, shown him its harshest truths. His voice, usually gruff and practical, softened with the echoes of old wounds. He spoke of profound losses, of trust shattered, and of a deep-seated fear that the outside world held nothing but pain and corruption. In his skewed perception, born from personal tragedy, isolating his daughters in the barn was not an act of imprisonment, but one of ultimate protection. He genuinely believed he was shielding them from the very unhappiness he had known, preserving their innocence, and ensuring their safety from what he saw as inevitable harm. He revealed that his actions stemmed from a distorted form of love, a desperate attempt to create a haven where they would never experience the heartache that had defined his own early life. He painted a picture of a world he perceived as cruel, where true joy was fleeting and wisdom often came at a terrible price. He believed he was safeguarding their purity, their limited yet precious happiness, by keeping them separate from what he considered the dangers of society. It was a revelation that brought a complex mix of emotions to Elara. She began to glimpse the painful history that had shaped his reclusive nature, understanding that his reclusion was a shield he had built not just for himself, but for them. While his methods were undeniably restrictive, she now saw the underlying, albeit misguided, intention to provide a unique kind of richness, an insulated existence he thought was best. This fragile understanding, born from a courageous confrontation and a father's hesitant confession, laid the groundwork for a fragile hope of connection. With a shared understanding settling between them, Elara and Lena began to weave the first threads of a new reality. The barn, once an impenetrable fortress, slowly revealed its gentle openings, initiated by the sisters. Elara, now armed with her father's confession and Lena's unwavering support, grasped that true protection lay not in confinement, but in guided exposure. They spoke in hopeful murmurs, planning their first tentative foray into the world beyond their isolated existence. Their father, still scarred but softened by his daughter's resolve, watched, an apprehensive witness to their unfolding courage. It was a remarkable shift, a testament to the quiet strength blooming within their unusual upbringing. Their vision began with the simplest aspect of their secluded life, the bounty of their land. Vegetables and eggs from their hens were tangible links to the outside world, products of inherent value. The sisters meticulously gathered the freshest produce, ensuring each item was perfect. This preparatory ritual was an act of hope, a tangible step towards the connection they craved. They spoke of the venture with trepidation and anticipation, their hearts fluttering with new excitement. Offering something they had nurtured with their own hands filled them with purpose and a nascent feeling of belonging. The day of their first trip to the small nearby town was steeped in nervous energy and profound purpose. Accompanied by their father, who clung to the wagon with apprehension and reluctant support, they presented their humble offerings at the local market. The air buzzed with unfamiliar sounds, a kaleidoscope of new sensations for Elara and Lena. They stood awkwardly, eyes wide, observing the easy flow of interaction. As people approached their small display, a tentative exchange began. Simple smiles, brief words about the weather or an egg's quality bridged the vast chasm of their isolation. Each small sale, each brief connection brought a wave of quiet happiness. It wasn't just about the meager coins. It was the richness of shared humanity, the surprising warmth of acceptance that began to thaw years of ingrained fear. Their father, from his vantage point, observed the genuine smiles directed at his daughters, the easy way they interacted, and a flicker of understanding, a glimmer of wisdom, crossed his weary face. He began to see that his protective walls had, in fact, deprived them of a vital joy. The market became their first classroom, teaching them that the world, while vast, also held immense kindness. This slow, deliberate integration, marked by selling their farm's harvest, was the painstaking, beautiful beginning of their family's rediscovery of connection and the boundless possibilities beyond their barn. The family's tentative steps into the wider world, driven by Elara's courage and Lena's quiet strength, swiftly became confident strides. Simple market transactions transformed into genuine friendships with their Kansas neighbors. They were no longer reclusive. They became an integral part of the community, a profound shift bringing unexpected joy. The warmth of human connection, once abstract, became tangible, filling their days with a richness unimaginable. True happiness, they found, thrived in connection, not isolation. Their lives now vibrated with new purpose. Elara's deep thirst for knowledge led her to the local schoolhouse. The teacher, recognizing her bright mind, welcomed her. Books and lessons unlocked vast realms of wisdom. Elara absorbed everything, her understanding of history and the world rapidly expanding. Every new fact brought immense happiness, proving real freedom lay in the mind's exploration. She found a talent for storytelling, captivating children with tales, subtly sharing lessons of resilience. This intellectual journey was a boundless source of inner richness. Her mind flourished. Lena, with her quieter, observant nature, found her calling in the community's vibrant artistry. She learned from women crafting textiles and painting. Her nimble fingers, used to farm chores, adapted quickly to creative tasks. She possessed an innate talent, transforming simple materials into art. The pure joy she found in creation was clear in every piece. Her admired works became a testament to her blossoming spirit, reflecting deep peace and contentment. This artistic expression provided a distinct, soulful richness. Even their father, initially cautious, slowly shed his self-imposed isolation. He found quiet satisfaction sharing agricultural knowledge with other farmers, building trust. The fear that defined him faded, replaced by growing comfort among strangers. He witnessed his daughter's pure happiness, a joy so contagious. He began to grasp the true wisdom in embracing the world, not hiding. His interactions, though careful, grew in frequency, weaving him back into society. His own peace expanded. Together, the family found their true place. The Kansas plains, once a barrier, now stretched as an open invitation. The world, they realized, was far grander, more complex, and more beautiful than their barn had hinted. Their journey out of shadows was not merely physical, it was an expansion of their souls. It was a testament to hope's power and growth's capacity. They built a legacy of discovery, rooted in hard-won wisdom, moving towards a future rich with possibilities. Their shared joy in belonging was a quiet, profound celebration of life, an abundant existence for all Elara and Lena, once confined within the weathered walls of their Kansas barn, truly began to flourish under the open sky. Their initial tentative steps into the world beyond had blossomed into confident strides, each day bringing new experiences and deepening their understanding of human connection. The sisters discovered a profound happiness in the simple act of living freely, interacting with others, and contributing to the vibrant tapestry of their burgeoning community. Elara, with her inquisitive mind, found purpose in teaching the younger children, sharing the limited knowledge she had once gleaned from her sparse books and now expanded exponentially through her real-world encounters. She reveled in witnessing the spark of comprehension in their eyes, a mirror of her own awakening. Lena, possessing a gentler spirit and a remarkable talent for crafting, found immense joy in creating beautiful items from local materials. Her intricate work soon gaining renown far beyond the nearby town. People traveled just to see her creations, each piece telling a silent story of perseverance and hope. Their lives were no longer defined by what they lacked, but by the incredible richness of their experiences. They found genuine love, not in the dramatic sweeping gestures of tales, but in the quiet companionship and unwavering support of newfound friends. And for Elara, a devoted partner who saw her strength and wisdom. Friendship, once an abstract concept, became a tangible comfort, woven into the fabric of their daily lives through shared laughter, quiet conversations, and mutual assistance. They learned the wisdom that true freedom was not merely the absence of physical barriers, but the liberation of the spirit, the courage to embrace the unknown, and the profound beauty found in genuine human bonds. The barn, once a symbol of their captivity, slowly transformed in their memories into a mere starting point, a place from which their incredible journey of self-discovery and integration began. Their story resonated with many, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the boundless capacity for transformation, proving that even after decades of isolation, life could unfurl into something beautiful and deeply meaningful, connected by the invisible threads of kindness and community. They understood, finally, that the world was vast and full of possibilities, waiting for those brave enough to step into its embrace, finding their true purpose and celebrating the boundless joys of an unburdened existence.